In ancient Rome, one of the most infamous punishments was crucifixion. This method involved tying or nailing a person to a large wooden cross and leaving them to die slowly. It was an extremely painful process that could take hours or even days. Crucifixion was mainly used for serious crimes such as rebellion against the empire. The purpose was not only to punish the criminal, but also to serve as a warning to anyone who might think of challenging authority. Another punishment used in ancient societies was exile. Instead of killing or imprisoning someone, the person would be permanently banished from the city or kingdom. In ancient Greece, exile could be a devastating punishment because survival outside the protection of society was extremely difficult. In many cultures, physical punishments were also common. Crimes such as theft could result in beatings, branding, or other forms of bodily punishment. The idea behind these penalties was simple. Pain and fear would discourage people from committing crimes. However, these early systems of punishment were often inconsistent and heavily influenced by social status. Powerful individuals could sometimes avoid punishment, while ordinary people faced extremely harsh consequences. The medieval period, public shame and harsh discipline. As societies moved into the medieval period, new forms of punishment began to appear. During this time, many European towns relied heavily on public humiliation as a form of justice. One common device used for this purpose was the stocks or pillory. This wooden structure held a person's head and hands in place while they stood in the town square. Criminals could be locked in the stocks for hours or even days. While trapped in this position, they were exposed to the public. People passing by would often insult them, laugh at them, or throw rotten food and other objects. Although it may sound less violent than other punishments, public humiliation could be emotionally devastating. Another common punishment during the medieval period was whipping or flogging. Offenders were tied to posts and beaten with whips in front of a crowd. The number of lashes could vary depending on the crime. For serious crimes, punishments could become even more severe. Execution methods such as hanging were widely used across many regions. These punishments were often carried out in public spaces so that large crowds could witness them. The goal of these events was not just to punish the individual, but also to reinforce social order. Authorities believed that if people saw the consequences of crime, they would be less likely to break the law. Torture and interrogation. During certain periods of history, especially between the 1500s and 1700s, torture was sometimes used as a method of interrogation. Authorities believed that physical pain could force suspects to confess to crimes or reveal information. Devices such as stretching machines were used to apply intense pressure to the body. The purpose was to create extreme discomfort until the individual admitted guilt. The 1800s, the rise of prison systems. By the 19th century, many countries began to rethink their approach to punishment. Instead of focusing solely on pain and humiliation, governments started developing organized prison systems. Prisons allowed authorities to isolate criminals from society while also maintaining more structured control over them. One common punishment during this time was hard labor. Prisoners were forced to perform physically demanding work such as breaking rocks, building roads, or working in mines. In some places, groups of prisoners were chained together while working, forming what became known as chain gangs. Hard labor served two purposes. It punished offenders through exhausting work, and it also contributed to public projects such as infrastructure development. This period marked a significant shift in thinking. Instead of simply punishing criminals publicly, societies began focusing more on confinement and discipline.